So it's time to go back to the web. And we'll go and have a look at the Gias repositories on GitHub. Gias is the pseudonym of Jacob Myers, which somebody who created a build of the Marlin firmware with additional features. Okay, good. So there are two repositories. This one is about configurations, and if we are compiling for the Ender 3 v2 standard machine, we won't need anything more than what's included in the Marlin main repo. So we'll go there. So what's super important here is to realize that there are plenty of branches, there are plenty of version we could download, but what we will do is to look at the releases and just use something that has been released and work from that. So if we look here, we will have the latest release, which is now the 1.3.4, and we have a bunch of files here for different configuration of the Ender 3 v2. What we will do is to try to reproduce the exact compilation parameters that has been used to produce those files. So we'll look at the stock v4, here it's a v4.22 with default settings. So instead of downloading that firmware file that cannot be modified, what we'll do is get the source code. So get this in a zip file. And then what we'll do, okay, once Windows is very happy with it, what we'll do is open the folder in which this file is, move it to the desktop so we can basically see what we're doing, and extract this file on the desktop. So it will take a little bit of time because there are many small files, and Windows is usually not very happy working with a lot of small files. Now what do we do? Okay, we have a folder inside a folder inside a folder, and here there's also like a Marlin thing inside. So this one came from the zip file, like from the fact that we extracted the zip file. This was the name of the folder inside the zip file. Those are the things, and basically everything related to the firmware we are going to compile is in this Marlin subfolder. So we basically don't know exactly what to do. There are like configuration files here that we could modify. Which one do we use? It's not very clear. So one way to get some information is to see actually how Jacob Myers is making the binary files that he provides with the releases. So for that we'll go to action, and we see that on this GitHub repository, basically all those files are produced automatically. So if you just have a look at like basically how is that thing produced, we can just reproduce the same steps by hand and we'll obtain exactly the same compilation configuration. So actions on GitHub are described by file in the .github folder. Usually this folder is hidden when you download code. And in workflows, we have here the compile configs options. And here we see that the default files are built, which are basically the one that we want to reproduce on the release. So just to compare, let's go back to the release file. Here to the 1.3.4, and we have the default here. And default here. So it's a bit hidden. We need to have a look. Okay, here. So there is we see that the file that's going to be created, like all the settings are basically in this step called run PlateformIO BL touch. And in the steps for like run, we see that it's going to decide the name of the file being produced, and then it's going to execute a few steps. So basically, those two lines, they tell us that a configuration file is going to be copied from that subfolder to the Marlin source code folder. So we see what's this one. It's in configuration files, E3 v2 templates, default no prob, and we have these two things. So that's the first thing that we'll do, like take those files and put them right where they belong. So we'll go here, configuration files, that was E3 v2 templates, default no prob. We take those two files, we copy, we go back, and we need to put them in the source code folder, which is the one named Marlin, and we paste here. And of course, we are going to replace those files. Now there are basically two things that I want to check with you. We are basically nearly done with what we need to do with the Explorer. So now we'll open that project folder using Visual Studio Code. That's why we actually put the checkbox in the installer, so we can just right-click on the folder and select the option Open with Code. So now there is a lot of magic in this repository, in the sense that when you open it with Visual Studio Code, there are many steps that can be done for you. But of course, to execute code made by others, we need to trust that they are doing the right thing. And we trust Jacob Myers. So okay, we are here. This is the Marlin 134 folder. This is the subfolder called Marlin where we put the configuration stuff before. The first thing that we are going to do is to just verify in PlateformIO that we are the right environment. So this is basically what's the CPU that we are going to compile the firmware for. And that's the right thing for and that v2. The second thing that we're going to check, just to be sure, is in this Configuration.h, run line 101, what's the motherboard? And here it's board Creality v4. And if we go back to the automatic compilation, so I'll hide Visual Studio Code, close this folder. I can see here that there is a step where there will be like this stuff here. Motherboard will be replaced by the board version. So if I look board, here it's v4. There could be another one. What does that file tell us? It tells us that there is like a file named boards.h that will be in this source and core boards.h. And here what do we have? We have the list of all the boards that can be used with the software. And here we see that the one that we have currently is the Creality v4, but there are other versions of the Creality board. So if you happen to have another one, you can always change that setting. So okay, I'll go back to the Configuration.h. We are very happy with this. So I can close this stuff and I can close this stuff. And now we are ready to compile the whole thing. So I'll go to this Auto Build Marlin tab on the left and ask to display the Auto Build Marlin panel. And here we see that we have the right environment for the CPU that's used in the Ender v3. The machine name is correct, and we have basically the configuration has been done by Jacob Myers. So I think everything looks good, including the board name. So now it's time to just click on the build button and wait. And I'll make this slightly bigger. It's going to take maybe 1 or 2 minutes to compile the whole firmware. But of course there are other actions going on at the same time, so maybe it's going to be a bit slow. Let's see what happens. Oh, so that was my internet connection, and I think it's kind of on and off. So let's show the auto build, so close this and restart the build process. Okay, let's start again. Okay, seems to work now. My Wi-Fi is not necessarily good in this room. So for the first time, I'm asking Visual Studio Code to compile for a certain CPU. It will download the necessary files. That usually happens just once. Okay, stuff is happening. That's good. Feels right. So maybe we have to download something else. Let's see. Okay, so now the compilation step is running. So it's quite incredible to see what's going on in this file. Okay, good. Linking step. Okay, so here is where we have to pay attention. We are basically building the binary file that will be put on the SD card to upgrade the printer. So it's going to show itself in the .pio folder, in the build and STM quality subfolder, and basically the firmware is named with the today's date and the current time. So let's go to the desktop. Can we see this .pio folder? Yes, it's there. Build, STM, Creality, and the bin file is here. So now what do? Copy that file. Go on the, okay, I don't exactly have the SD card in this machine. Let's plug it in. Actually, I don't have access to the SD card, but basically take this bin file, paste it on the SD card that you inserted in your SD card reader, paste the file there. You don't need to rename it. Just make sure that there is only one bin file on the card. Write it, eject the card,